Hey guys, Asian here again with another Trials Guide video. This time it's Maw of Lorkhaj / Maw of Lorkhan. This is the hardest trial to complete, even on normal. I will be healing this fight. I did not manage to hit record from the start of the fight. This is the first boss. To get here, you're going to have to fight some trash mobs. Just like all the other trials, there's a specific order that you should take out the mobs. You're going to want to take out the moon dancers first, then the archers and casters, and then the melees. The tank will want to pull the melees away from the group while the DPS handle the moon dancers. Moon dancers will create a large AoE negate magic effect. You're going to want to roll out of that so you can use your spells. And this is the first boss here. He has a couple of mechanics that you need to be aware of. First, there are glowing pads on the ground. The tank will lead the boss, over to one of the pads. And that is the tank's pad. Nobody else is allowed to use that pad. He will summon those black crystals you see on the right hand side of the screen. On normal mode, you don't gotta worry about them. They just do damage when they are summoned. Boss will at one point bring up a shield. While he has the shield up, he can't be critted. And he will continue to hit everybody with black orbs. As his health gets lower, the shield becomes larger and will have more health. You'll summon some tiger ads, don't worry about them, they're not particularly dangerous on normal. As you can see, that shield is very large, and while he's doing that, everyone's getting hit. Third mechanic is the one you will see here. Your screen will turn blue. That means he's applied a debuff on you. When you do that, run over to any of the glowing pads besides the one assigned to the tank, and it should clear the debuff for you. Once you beat the final boss, climb up the ladder, you'll get to this part. Everybody will need to mount up. Somebody should pop rapids, and you're just going to sprint all the way down to the bottom of the hill. You'll notice that I goof up a little bit and decide to take the long scenic route right here instead of just jumping straight down the hill. Don't know why I did that. Gonna end up in that cave right there. Once you hit this cave, a couple of ogres are gonna spawn. Take out the ogre's shaman first. Whenever there are ogres, you want to take out the shaman first before you take out anybody else. He has a pretty nasty AoE effect that can hit everybody. From there, just turn around and take down the rest of the mobs. They should have followed you down the hill. Once you have taken out those mobs, you're going to need to take out some more trash mobs. Again, take out the moon dancers first. They have the negate magic AoE that you're going to want to avoid. Then take out the archers and casters, and then the melees. This here is the next boss room. This is one of the trickier bosses. You'll see that you have two of them, one with the light head, one with the dark head. You're going to want to split up into two teams, left and right. Right team is going to stay by the entrance. The left team is going to circle around to the far door across the room. You're going to have a tank on each side and a healer on each side and 4 DPS. So you'll see here that we screwed up here. I have a light head, a light around my head, and the rest of my teammates have a dark aura around their head. If two people come up to each other and they have opposite heads, so light versus dark, you will explode and instantly die. So here you see we messed up, so we decided just to take the wipe, reset, and fix our mistake. What happened was some of us were not close enough to the boss when he applied the dark head versus light head, so here you see we are all kissing right up to the boss and we all get the same colored head. So the head's color is very important to keep a note of. If you have a dark aura around your head, you can only damage the light-headed boss. You cannot damage the dark-headed boss. So the tanks will need to pull the bosses around. The alternative strategy is for the two groups to rotate. You're going to have to do that if you only have one tank, but ideally you have two tanks, and you can just have the tanks swap the bosses while you do so. The bosses do summon ads, and the boss and the ads do a Jesus beam type move that will stun the person. You need to interrupt that whenever that Jesus beam move is cast. And here, this is the next phase, which is known as the prayer phase. So for this phase, They will go to opposite sides of the room. Which side they go to is completely random. If you have a dark head, you need to be on the light side of the room. If you have a dark head, you need to be next to the other boss. So if this boss with the same color is on your side of the room, you need to rotate with the other group, move in a clockwise fashion. So if you were on the right group, you would move to the left. If you were on the right group, you move to the right. So one thing you need to keep in mind is that there is a burn phase for the boss. Once you kill one of the bosses, the other boss will also basically get enraged and will one-shot the group if he is not killed in time. You have about 30 seconds to do that. Here we managed to kill both of them at about the same time, so we managed to avoid that burn phase. Go ahead and loot the treasure in the treasure room behind the boss and go up the steps and wait by the gate till everyone is ready to go. Here you have two giant panthers, and you'll notice there is a left platform and a right platform. I'm going to take out the two panthers. They're pretty straightforward. Nothing in terms of mechanics. And once you take out the panthers, two people will need to go up on the right platform and then on the left platform and pull the switches there. You can do both at the same time, but it's recommended that you do one side at a time. Once you pull those switches, a couple of ads will show up. You can see we have our group members going to the right and left. We do the right switch first, and that summons those mobs. You will have 3 rounds of them. And again, the order is Moon Dancers, Archers, and Melee. We'll speed past all this. So you should do the right first and then the left. There will be downtime, so if you need to rest up, then you can do that between pulls. After this, you will have to face off in this giant room. A couple of waves of trash mobs. Again, Moon Dancers first, and then the casters, archers, and then the melees. Go ahead and loot the treasure room and go on to the final boss. So once you enter the final boss room, there will be some dialogue happening in the back. Basically, this guy says he's going to destroy everything. And you're going to work your way to the back of the room over here. Once the dialogue is done, the boss is going to blow away that black back wall in a spectacular fashion, and you will move back even further. So a lot of dialogue. And here he is. He's transforming into Rakkhat. And he blows away the back wall there, as you can see. There's a giant hole. And then you move over to this little corner here. This is where you're going to start the boss fight. So for this boss fight, you're going to need at least 2 people with high stamina to be what are called runners. Since I am a healer, healers and tanks are not runners no matter what. If you have 2 tanks, one of the tanks can be a runner if he so desires. It's actually highly recommended for the second tank to be a runner. I will be showing you guys how to do the runner section in a separate video, but just bear in mind that if you are a runner, your job is incredibly important. If you do not manage to complete your job, it is a group wipe. There is no way around it. So if you are running, it's a pretty straightforward job, but it's also a very important job to be able to complete. I'm just going to skip ahead here because we're looking for runners. Here are going to be a couple of pads on the ground. You see those there. Where tank is going to pull aggro on the boss and step back onto that first platform to our right. Everybody is going to move in a clockwise fashion, so in our case to the left. The tank will stand on the glowing platform, and only the tank can stand on that platform. Everybody else will move accordingly, and as you see here, the boss has turned that first platform dark, so it'll be a one-hit kill. He summons an ad when he does this, and the next pad starts glowing, so everybody should shift over. So the idea is to stay between the next pad and the pad that's currently glowing. When he summons the ad, DPS should burn the ad down. The boss doesn't have a lot of mechanics. He has a couple of AoE moves that'll target a lot of random people. One of them is a raining attack. Just block through it if you can, or trust on the healers to heal you. Once those figures, silhouettes, appear in the middle, that is the signal for the runners to go ahead and start their do their job, which is to get rid of those silhouettes. There's a set period of time. If they don't get rid of them, everybody dies. See there, that was the raining balls of fire attack. Ideally, the DPS should stack, group up, makes the healer job a lot easier. But if you have 2 Templar healers, it's not that big of a deal. You see here, we're starting to get a little bit worried. We still have 2 silhouettes left. It's very important for people to communicate to the runners. And there we go. All the silhouettes are down, which means we avoided the group wipe. Very clear. Ideally, you should have the healers call out to the runners whether there are silhouettes left. You should call whether there are silhouettes on the left side of the circle, center of the circle, and right of the circle. That'll just help the runners figure out which areas they need to go to get rid of those silhouettes. Again, I will be explaining all this in greater detail in a follow-up video. Silhouettes are here again, so the runners need to go out and do their thing. With a good group, you will not need to cycle through all of the pads. With this particular raid group, we normally cycle through just over half, normally 1 or 2 more past this point. Once the boss hits a certain point health level, I believe it is 20%. Regardless of whether there are runners there, he will jump to the center platform and get rid of the black on the rest of the platforms. Oh, I lied, it is not 20%, it looks like it's closer to about 15%, it's executes. There you go, he teleports to the center, all the platforms turn black, everybody needs to rush over to the center and execute him down. As you can imagine, if he manages to unleash that attack, it's an instant wipe, you need to start all over from the beginning again. There you go, managed to burn him down. You can go ahead and collect the chest. Your Khajiit friend will do some sing-song and repair that wall, and then you can talk to her and collect your weekly trial rewards.
Yeah, you can have it.
So that is normal Maw of Lorkhaj. Definitely one of the tougher trials, definitely needs a lot of coordination, a lot of awareness, situational awareness, and knowledge of the mechanics. But this is the only place to get Zhaj'hassa motifs, so you're going to need to run it at some point if you want to master that motif and not spend a lot of money. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you guys in the next dungeon.